Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Dr. A. And this week gave you guys an incredible opportunity to win big time prizes. And all you had to do was guess how many counters were in this bucket. They're called counters. We call them counters, chips, coins, little plastic counters that I used to have 1,000 in there according to this sticker, but I've since lost a bunch. And so I just asked you to guess, and the prize was incredibly an iPad. That's right, an iPad. Uh-huh. That still gets me every time. But you know what? Nobody actually guessed the correct amount. And we verified by counting, but I did ask for guesses, and I told you that you could do anything with the bucket that you wanted. A lot of people came up and held the bucket, kind of shook it around a little bit, sort of felt how heavy it weighed in their hands. And then the next day after those guesses, I told you guys you could do anything you wanted except count just by brute force because that's a lot of counting. I mean, it took me nearly half hour to count all of them. And gosh, I believe how many were there? There were a total of 845 coins. Had a lot of good guesses, but you know what? How would we figure that out? So some of you guys got out a scale. You started to measure a lot of different things, and we came up with these measurements right here. The full bucket with the coins was 604 grams, empty bucket you see here, and then one coin. We measured one coin, and I asked you guys to do with that whatever you wanted. And so a lot of people did the following. They said, you know what we want to do is let's take 604, which is the whole bucket, and let's take out 88.66. So once you did that, a lot of you guys went to handy dandy calculator, and he said 604 minus 88.66 and 515.34. So that result came out to be 515.34 grams. And you know, if you think about it, what you guys were doing made a lot of sense. You guys took, wow, that's strange. Let's undo that. Sorry about that. You guys took the full bucket, which was the empty bucket plus the coins, and then you took away just the empty bucket. And so what that left you with was 515.34 grams, which should have been the weight of just the coins. And we tried to weigh that by dumping the coins on the scale, but the coins went everywhere. That was not a very good way to just measure the coins, so we needed that bucket. And after that, what some of you guys did is you decided that you would take the weight right here of just the coins, and if all the coins together weigh 515.34 grams, if I divide that by the weight of just one coin, then I should get the number of coins that are in there that would make that total weight. So you guys went to your calculators, divided by 0.62, and you got 831 coins. So, gosh, you know, if you think about it, that was a pretty good estimation. And you might think, well, I was still like a whole 14 coins off. But if you think about it in terms of how many coins there were, you were just, you know, maybe like 2% off of the right answer, which is really pretty good because when you consider that your guesses ranged all the way from, there were guesses of 200 all the way up to 900. The range was like 700 coins. If you know that this is a possibility, then your guesses could range anywhere from 820 to, you know, 850, and now you have a much smaller range to guess from. So what I want to do is I want to look at what we did here. You guys came up with a great way. You used what you guys thought was some very simple math, just some subtraction and division to get the right answer, but it's a lot deeper than that. And I want you guys to consider what we did is we were trying to count something big. 845 coins, took me half hour. There's got to be a quicker way to do that. And even by weighing, we can get the answer pretty quickly, but I want to look at what this means in terms of the mathematics and not just subtraction, division, but whenever you have something big to count and you don't want to count it by brute force, just like sit down and count 1, 2, 3, 4, then what you can do is you can establish a pattern. Start small, start counting small, and count up. And as you're counting up, see if you can establish a pattern. So let's do that together. And I'm going to be uh, pretty simple in my approach here. I'm going to take a lot of what you guys might consider easy steps, but I want you to see what happens when we just start. Like, what if we started with an empty bucket? Okay, so we're just going to start with an empty bucket, and that would be 88.66 grams. And then let's just add in one coin. Okay, we're just going to add in one coin, and what would that get us? That would get us 89.28 grams. Okay, so now next step, we put in one coin, we weigh it, and then we look at the next step, which will be to put in two coins. Now, I know it might seem silly that I'm writing all of this out, but just bear with me here while we see what happens. This would be one coin plus the second coin, and that would give me 89.9 grams. Again, I know it seems silly to write this out, but bear with me. You want to be as simple as possible here and as detailed as possible so we can find those patterns. And then let's go for another coin. And I know you might be thinking at this point that this is getting kind of ridiculous. But right when you think that, like, man, this is taking a long time, then we can look at this and say, okay, is there any math in here that we can use to make this more simple? So for example, look for repetition. And I see this repetition happening right here. And again here. And it would be great if I could take care of that by representing it in a little bit easier to read way, or a simpler way. So how could we do that? Think about that for a second. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this repeated addition, and we are going to write it as multiplication. So what that's going to look like, and I'll write this just kind of in red so we can see it, is that when I had two coins, 0.62 plus 0.62 is 0.62 times 2. And then the next one with three coins would be 0.62 times 3. So can you guys guess what the next entry would be? It'd be 88.66 plus 0.62. And then what would that look like? It would be this time times 4, because now we have 4 coins. And then that would be equal to 91.14 grams. So what about the first one? It seems like it's missing something, but if we count down 4, 3, 2, this is when we had one coin.